The Action Line on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Working with Rutherford County newsmakers about what matters most to you.
Your host, J. Paul Newman of the monthly District Attorney Show.
The viewpoints and opinions expressed on this broadcast are the viewpoints and opinions of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints and opinions of this show, its host, or the management of this station. You are listening to WGNS. We welcome everyone to the program. My name is J. Paul Newman. My co-hosts today are Rutherford County District Attorney General Jennings Jones and Rutherford County Assistant District Attorney Trevor Lynch. We thank WGNS for providing the airtime, and we also thank our producer, Scott Walker. Most of all, we thank you for listening. We will begin our broadcast after you listen to these important messages.
Need a new set of tires? Head to Tire World, where you can buy now, pay later. Ask your Tire World experts in Murfreesboro, Smyrna, and Laverne about their financing options.
Tire World, we keep your family rolling.
Get the Bridgestone-affiliated retailer credit card.
Dozens of vendors, one local tradition.
Lump juicy tomatoes.
The Farmers Market, every Tuesday and Friday.
Pick fresh this morning
at Lane Agri Park in Murfreesboro.
Farm fresh eggs.
The Rutherford County Farmers Market, open Friday 8 to noon, Tuesday 7 to noon or 2 to 7.
Every homicide, every rape, every robbery affects the entire community. People who are victims of these crimes need closure. The people who committed these crimes must be held accountable. Law enforcement needs the community's help in seeking justice.
Today, in our Cold Case Profile segment, we will highlight separate homicide cases. On May 22, 2010, Nathan Morgan Jr. was visiting friends at 1401 Eagle Street here in Murfreesboro. Just after midnight, shots were fired into the crowd that was gathered in the front yard. 3 people were struck by the gunfire. Lewis Sweeney of Nashville was treated at Middle Tennessee Medical Center for injuries to the neck and shoulder area. Byrus Hughes of Murfreesboro was also wounded and was treated and released at a local hospital. The third person shot was Nathan Morgan Jr. Mr. Morgan was pronounced dead that night at Middle Tennessee Medical Center. Through the investigation, it was learned that one or more persons fired the shots from an outside area of the residence next door to 1401 Eagle Street. The weapon appears to have been a rifle, and multiple shots have been fired. Nathan Morgan Jr. left behind a family that included his mother, his sister, and a daughter who misses him each and every day. Law enforcement and the family of Nathan Morgan Jr. now ask for your help. Violent crimes will continue as long as good people remain silent. If you have any information regarding murder of Nathan Morgan Jr., you can call Crime Stoppers at 893-STOP.
The Action Line on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at WGNSradio.com.
On the morning of October the 16th, 2015, Brandy Hawkins and her father, Greg Hawkins, were fishing near the Mona boat ramp in Rutherford County, Tennessee. After a few hours on the water, they decide to head back to shore. Brandy remains in the boat while her father exits to walk back to get the trailer. Brandy Hawkins loses sight of her father as he walks away and into the parking lot. The time is about 11 o'clock a.m. It is then that Brandy Hawkins hears what she believes to be gunshots. She rushes to the parking lot, and there she finds her father. Greg Hawkins has been shot, and it appears his truck has been burglarized. Greg Hawkins dies that day. This case remains unsolved. Greg Hawkins was a valuable member of the community. He was an engineer at the Nissan plant in Smyrna, Tennessee. But he was more than that. Greg Hawkins was a devoted Christian. He was a husband, a father, and a brother. His family and friends have suffered a tremendous loss. We are asking for your help. Law enforcement and the Hawkins family wants to know why he was killed, and they want to know who killed him. A large reward has been offered in this case. If you have any information regarding the murder of 53-year-old Greg Hawkins, please call the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office at 615-898-7770, or you can call Crime Stoppers at 615-893-STOP. Your call to Crime Stoppers is confidential.
The monthly District Attorney Show, heard exclusively on News Radio WGNS the first Friday of each month.
This is the WGNS Action Line.
Featuring host, retired Assistant Rutherford County District Attorney J. Paul Newman.
Please listen as we review an unsolved mystery in this month's Cold Case Profile.
On June the 15th, 2009 at 9:17 a.m., the Murfreesboro Police Department responded to a frantic call. The nature of the call was a possible burglary at an apartment complex on East Northfield Boulevard. When officers arrive at the scene, they see that the apartment door had been kicked open. Inside, they meet the lady who had called the police. She told officers that she lived in the apartment and that earlier that morning, present in the apartment were herself, her small child, and Cedric Herbert. At about 8 a.m., she left the apartment and took her child to daycare. She went on to say that when she returned, she discovered the body of Cedric Herbert. The police investigate. They determined that 24-year-old Cedric Herbert had been shot to death. Police now believe that someone or a group of individuals forced their way into the apartment and shot and killed Cedric Herbert. Robbery may have been the motive. According to family members, Cedric Herbert had a large sum of money on him the day before the murder. Why he was killed remains a mystery. His killer or killers remain at large.
Broadcasting to every nook and cranny of Rutherford County's 618 square miles. FM 100.5, 101.9, and AM 1450.
The monthly District Attorney Show, heard the first Friday of each month, exclusively on News Radio WGNS. Your host, J. Paul Newman.
Larry Flowers is the Public Information Officer for the Murfreesboro Police Department. We welcome Larry Flowers to our WGNS microphones. Welcome, Larry.
Good morning, J. Paul.
Larry, can you tell us, does the Murfreesboro Police Department, they have an unsolved homicide or what some people may call a cold case unit?
Around the PD like to call them unsolved cases because when you mention cold case to a victim's family, that's kind of harsh. And they don't want to think of their loved one's case, in a box in a property room. So we try to refer to them as unsolved cases. And basically, we want to make sure that these family members know we're in pursuit of solving their case, each and every one of them, even though some of the tips have stopped coming in, witnesses are not cooperating, or whatever the case may be. And we do feature those on our webpage. Simply go to murfreesboro10.gov/police and go under our department, and it has a link for those unsolved cases.
Can you tell us how Crime Stoppers works? How does it function?
Crime Stoppers is basically governed by a board of private citizens. There were a group of citizens here in Rutherford County that felt the need that we needed something like this, so where folks can send in tips anonymously. And so these community leaders basically created Crime Stoppers. We partner with Crime Stoppers at Murfreesboro Police, and all the law enforcement agencies within Rutherford County makes up a Rutherford County Crime Stoppers. And so basically people can report tips anonymously. The board offers up to $1,000 reward for information that will lead to an arrest in a case. Not necessarily that they're going to get $1,000, but up to $1,000 depending on the person we're looking for. So that's typically how Crime Stoppers work.
Tell us now about the P3 Global app and how the public can get that app.
Sure. Rutherford County Crime Stoppers has partnered with P3 Global Intel app. Citizens can report crime tips, submit videos in real time using that app for Crime Stoppers. And again, it's called the P3 Global Intel app. You can go to your Apple ISO or your even your Android devices. Just go to the Google Play Store, download that particular app. There are a few steps you have to follow. You can actually click on whatever law enforcement agency you want to report that tip to. So in this case, Murfreesboro Police, or you can do Rutherford County Sheriff's Office if you have a tip for Laverne Police. And typically what that will do is send an alert. You can report this anonymously. You don't have to even sign in your name on the app. You can literally click anonymously. And then, of course, the way Crime Stoppers work, you get a code. And that code you would use to typically collect your money. And so this P3 Global Intel app is just a modern way of reporting crime other than just picking up the phone, leaving an anonymous tip.
I'm a big fan of Crime Files, and I know that you've had a big part in that, and you brought so much talent there, and also you organized talent to assist you. Can you tell us about the Crime Files?
Sure. MPD Crime Files, when I was in Jackson, Mississippi, working for the NBC affiliate there, we constantly did reenactments of crime. When you see those cases and see how that crime went down, typically our hope and our goal is for someone to see that and it sparks a memory. It's like, oh, I remember that. I remember seeing this crime, and then maybe call in a tip. What Murfreesboro Police partners with Murfreesboro City TV, our producer and videographer Michael Nevels work closely with us. What we do is we will get actors or actresses from Murfreesboro Little Theater, and they will come and play the part of the victims. Typically the suspect, we like to use police officers to recreate these crimes, and so we do have them listed on our website.
Larry, I want to commend you for the outstanding service that you've provided the Murfreesboro Police Department and this community.
Thank you.
Broadcasting to every nook and cranny of Rutherford County's 618 square miles. FM 100.5, 101.9, and AM 1450.
Hi, this is Tina Fox at the Rutherford Farmers Co-op. Please come and see us for all your garden needs. We have everything you need to help that garden grow, and we also have what you need for landscaping and your lawns. We have black and brown mulch in bulk. Please come see us. And as always, don't forget us for all your gift, clothing, and pet needs. This is Tina Fox. Your Co-op Farm and Home Center is located at 985 Middle Tennessee Boulevard, just off of South Church.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. If you've recently changed your phone number or email, make sure you update your details at mte.com. It's the best way for MTE to reach you quickly with important outage updates.
Holden Hardware has been serving the hardware needs of this community since 1948. This is Raleigh Holden Jr. I want to thank our many customers who have helped to keep us in business all these years. I also want to invite those who may be new to this community or have not been in the store lately to visit us. Come experience a unique hardware buying atmosphere with wood floors, old furniture and fixtures, along with a helpful and knowledgeable sales staff. Holden Hardware on the west side of the public square since 1948.
What's the law? Time now for an examination of the laws of Tennessee. This is not intended to be legal advice and is being presented solely for the informational benefit of our listening audience. You should always consult with an attorney whenever you need or rely on legal advice.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for having me. My name is Lily Reisenhuber, and I'm a rising third-year law student at Belmont University College of Law in Nashville. Before law school, I attended Clemson University, where I studied psychology and criminal justice. Those studies first introduced me to the legal system and really sparked my interest in understanding not only how the law works, but also how it impacts real people and communities every single day. From early on, I knew I wanted a career that would allow me to serve others and make a meaningful impact. As I learned more about the criminal justice system, I became especially interested in prosecution because prosecutors have a unique responsibility. Their job is to not simply win cases, but to pursue justice fairly and ethically, while also protecting the community. Becoming involved in public service is what ultimately led me to law school and confirmed my goal of becoming a prosecutor. This summer, I have the opportunity to work with the Tennessee District Attorneys General Conference as a part of their summer clerkship program. Through that program, I'll be working here in Rutherford County for half my summer alongside current assistant district attorneys, learning directly from them in real courtroom settings. One of the biggest reasons I chose this program is because it offers a hands-on experience that goes beyond what you can learn in a classroom. It gives students the opportunity to actually observe court proceedings, work on real legal issues, and better understand the day-to-day responsibilities prosecutors carry. Another reason I was drawn to this work is because of the human side of criminal law. Every case represents real people, victims, defendants, law enforcement officers, and entire communities. The responsibility that prosecutors carry is something I deeply respect and is one of the reasons I wanted to pursue this career path. This summer, I will also be working under a limited license with the supervision from practicing attorneys, which will allow me to gain real practical courtroom experience. I'm excited to not only improve my legal skills, but also learn how different districts operate while all sharing the same overall mission of seeking justice and serving their communities.
Thank you, Lily. My name is Matthew Keaton. I'm a Middle Tennessee native from DeKalb County. I just finished my first year at Belmont Law, so I'm currently a rising 2L. Before enrolling in law school, I attended Middle Tennessee State University here in Murfreesboro. At MTSU, I majored in political science with a degree concentration in pre-law and minored in criminal justice. As a senior in high school, I made the decision to enroll in MTSU with the ultimate plan of attending law school and becoming an attorney. Currently, the legal field I'm most interested in is criminal prosecution. I believe the main reasons I became interested in the criminal justice system is my dad's career in law enforcement. I also believe it's important to use your professional career to serve others and make your community a better and safer place. I believe a career as a prosecutor is a great way to achieve these goals. These goals led me to seek an internship this summer with the district attorney's office here in Murfreesboro. So far, I've really enjoyed seeing the day-to-day life working in prosecution, which is an experience you can't really get in a law school class. My favorite part of the internship so far has been observing jury trials and discussing all the strategy that goes into these trials with different assistant district attorneys. Another aspect of the internship that is different from law school is conducting legal research for real cases that matters more than a grade. I'm now going to turn the discussion over to Isabella Gilly so she can tell you a little more about herself.
My name is Isabella Gilly. I'm a 3L at Belmont College of Law. I grew up in Murfreesboro and went to MTSU for undergrad. I majored in criminal justice and studied forensic anthropology, and I loved my time at MTSU. I've always known that I wanted to work in the criminal justice system, and my undergraduate degree just confirmed this for me. I decided early on in high school that I really wanted to go to law school, and I became interested in being a prosecutor because I wanted a job that would allow me to help get justice for other people who needed it. I was always very interested in crime shows and law enforcement, and being a prosecutor seemed like something that I could see myself doing. My law school experience has only confirmed that criminal law is what I am the most interested in. Those have been my favorite classes in law school so far, and I have taken every opportunity to get more hands-on experience. I spent the last year interning at a criminal defense law firm and was ready for a change to prosecution this summer, so I am now an intern for the Rutherford County District Attorney's Office, and I am really enjoying getting to get more hands-on experience with legal research, writing, going to court, and meeting new people. In my free time, I love baking and gardening, spending time with my family, and enjoying not being in law school for the summer. Now, Lily is going to introduce our topic for this morning.
Today, I want to briefly explain what post-conviction relief, or PCR, is and how the process generally works. The easiest way to think about PCR is that it is a way for someone who has already been convicted of a crime to later challenge that conviction after trial and appeal process are over. It is not just another appeal or a second chance to argue the same issues again. Instead, PCR usually focuses on a serious problem that may not have been fully addressed during the original case. For example, someone may claim their lawyer did not properly represent them, that new evidence has been discovered, or that their constitutional rights were violated in some way. The process usually starts by filing a petition with the court. In that petition, the person has to explain exactly what went wrong, why it matters, and what relief they're asking for. Courts generally require specific facts, not just broad complaints or accusations. One important thing about PCR is the timing. Most states have strict deadlines for filing these petitions. Once a conviction becomes final, the clock starts running. If someone waits too long, the court may refuse to hear the case at all. There are sometimes exceptions, such as when new evidence is discovered or when a major change in the law occurs, but those exceptions are limited. After the petition is filed, the state has an opportunity to respond. Sometimes the court can decide the case just by reviewing paperwork, or the court may allow for further investigation or hold a hearing. If there is a hearing, both sides can present evidence. The person filing the petition has the burden of proving their claims. For example, if someone claims their attorney was ineffective, they usually have to show both that the attorney made serious mistakes and that those mistakes affected the outcome of the case. At the end of the process, the judge decides whether relief should be granted. If the court finds a serious violation occurred, there are many possible outcomes and relief that could be granted. One important thing to remember about PCR is that rules can vary depending on the state or whether the case is in federal court. Deadlines, procedures, and available claims can all differ, but across all jurisdictions, the overall purpose is the same: to provide a process for reviewing serious constitutional or legal problems that may have affected the fairness of a criminal conviction. At its core, post-conviction relief is about balancing two important ideas. On one hand, courts value finality and do not want cases relitigated forever. On the other hand, the justice system also recognizes that serious mistakes can happen, and there needs to be a process for addressing them when they do. I will now be passing it off to Matthew Keaton to discuss some more details and exceptions to PCR.
So starting with the filing deadline for post-conviction relief in Tennessee, the Post-Conviction Procedure Act requires all petitions for post-conviction relief be filed within 1 year of the highest appellate court decision on the case, or if no appeal is taken, within 1 year of the date which the judgment in the case became final. However, there are 3 statutory exceptions and 1 common law exception to this filing deadline I would like to spend a little more time discussing. The first exception to the filing deadline is for newly recognized constitutional rights. This allows for the statute of limitations for post-conviction relief to be told if an appellate court has recognized a new constitutional right that was not available to the defendant during their trial. However, the law requires that a post-conviction petition based on a newly recognized right must be filed within 1 year of the appellate court's decision creating that right. An example of a newly recognized constitutional right that has led to post-conviction relief in Tennessee is when the Tennessee Supreme Court held that the execution of mentally impaired individuals violates the Eighth Amendment's protection against cruel and unusual punishments. The second exception to the filing deadline deals with new scientific evidence that establishes the innocence of the petitioner. The most common form of this exception is DNA evidence, but may also include ballistics testing and psychological evidence that establishes the mental impairment of the petitioner. This exception differs from the others in that it may be raised at any time and contains no statute of limitations period. The final statutory exception to Tennessee's post-conviction relief filing deadline involves relief from sentences that were enhanced by convictions which were later determined to be invalid. So in explaining this exception, if a conviction that was used to enhance a subsequent conviction is later determined to be invalid, the petitioner must file for post-conviction relief within 1 year of the court decision that found that conviction to be invalid. The only exception to the filing deadline that is not created by the statute itself has been recognized in case law in our courts and involves due process concerns. Our courts held that the statute of limitations for post-conviction relief must sometimes be told to ensure the fairness of our court system. The most common form of due process concern is when a petitioner alleges they received ineffective assistance of counsel that rendered them unable to timely file their petition. To be entitled to due process tolling under these circumstances, the petitioner must show, first, that they were diligently pursuing their rights, and second, that some extraordinary circumstances that were beyond their control prevented them from finally filing their petition. I would now like to pass our discussion back to Isabella, who's going to explain more about the future of post-conviction relief in Tennessee.
In 2025, Tennessee's post-conviction relief statute, which is Tennessee Code Annotated 4030-117, received an update. That update allows individuals to challenge prior guilty pleas by reopening their prior petition for post-conviction relief if there is newly discovered evidence that could affect the validity of their original conviction. In order for this to succeed, the petitioner must show that the evidence was not available at the time of the original guilty plea and that it bears significant weight on the issue of guilt or innocence. In order for this to apply, the petitioner must have entered a guilty plea. They must be either incarcerated or have fully served their sentence from their conviction. The relief must be grounded in evidence that was not known about or reasonably discoverable at the time that their plea was entered. And that evidence could be DNA, fingerprints, new witnesses, or any other type of evidence. They must file their petition within a reasonable time of discovery of the new evidence. And it must appear that if the facts of their claim were true, it would prove by a preponderance of the evidence that they were not guilty. And that just means that it's more likely than not that they were really not guilty. In order to initiate this, they must file a petition clearly stating the basis for their relief and the new evidence, as well as the source of the new evidence. Then the court will evaluate their claim and decide how to proceed on that claim. This was a brief overview of post-conviction relief. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed.
We're News Radio WGNS 100.5, 101.9, 1450. Online and on your phone at WGNSradio.com.
Your 401k is likely one of your most important assets, but it's only one part of a comprehensive retirement strategy. Edward Jones can help you understand how your retirement assets fit into your entire retirement picture so that you can work toward meeting your unique retirement goals. Contact me, Lee Colvin, your Edward Jones financial advisor in the Public Shopping Center on South Rutherford Boulevard, or give us a call at 615-907-7056. Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing, member SIPC.
Bringing humor, insight, and a voice of reason. Hey, it's Rick. Join me for the Rick Burgess Show on WGNS, weekdays 11 till 2.
This is Inside the Courts. A look at this month's trials, pleas, and grand jury action. Inside the Courts is presented as a courtesy of the Rutherford County Clerk's Office.
With today's special feature, here is Rutherford County District Attorney Jennings Jones.
Good morning, everyone. This is your District Attorney General, Jennings Jones, and today I will be your tour guide through this episode of Inside the Courts. Now we begin this segment by stating that none of the defendants named in any upcoming trials have been convicted, and they are presumed by our law to be innocent. With that as a prelude, we will now go inside the courts. On March 19th of this year, officers with the Murfreesboro Police Department responded to a residence on Fairfax Drive in response to an EMS assist. Officers arrived on scene and discovered Miss Caitlin Allen with a single gunshot wound to the head. Miss Allen died from her injuries. Detective Adam Claiborne was assigned as the lead investigator. Mr. Arthur Moore, Miss Allen's ex-boyfriend, was developed as a suspect and interviewed. Upon collection of evidence from Mr. Moore's residence and interviews conducted by the Murfreesboro Police Department, Mr. Moore was charged with the second-degree murder of Miss Allen. Mr. Moore is scheduled to appear in the General Sessions Court of Rutherford County on June 9th of this year. He is represented by counsel Mr. Josh Crane, while the state is represented by Assistant District Attorneys Matt Westmoreland and Trevor Lynch. On April 19th of 2022, officers with the Smyrna Police Department responded to a residence on Cannon Drive in Smyrna, Tennessee, to a 911 call reporting shots fired with injuries. Upon arrival, officers located the body of Mr. Jacario Vaughn. Mr. Vaughn had been shot multiple times. Detective Steve Martin was assigned as the lead investigator. A canvass of the area revealed a residence with home security cameras and several witnesses. Through the assistance of a tip line, Mr. Wilquanta Bailey was developed as a suspect. After investigating Mr. Bailey, he was charged with first-degree murder. A preliminary hearing was held on May 11th of this year, where the court determined that sufficient proof was presented to bind the case over to the Rutherford County Grand Jury. Mr. Bailey was represented by counsel Mr. Derek Howard, and the state was represented by Assistant District Attorneys Haley Giovanni and Trevor Lynch. On December 14th of last year, officers with the Laverne Police Department responded to a residence on Gary Lane in response to a shooting. Officers arrived on scene and discovered Mr. Andreas Olea Perez with a single gunshot wound to the chest. Mr. Perez died from his injuries. Detective Nicholas Lidke was assigned as the lead investigator. Kevin Padilla Martinez, Azel Lopez Hernandez, and a juvenile suspect were apprehended while attempting to flee the area in an automobile. Mr. Martinez and Mr. Hernandez were charged with second-degree murder and reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon. Juvenile petitions were taken against the juvenile for the same charges. The juvenile suspect appeared before the juvenile court on March 4th of this year, where juvenile court judge Travis Lempley transferred the juvenile to adult court. On March 10th of this year, a preliminary hearing was held in the General Sessions Court for Rutherford County, and the court found sufficient proof to bind Mr. Hernandez and Mr. Martinez's cases over to the Rutherford County Grand Jury. Mr. Hernandez is represented by counsel Mr. David Clark, and Mr. Martinez is represented by Mr. Christian Moore. The state is represented by Assistant District Attorneys Trevor Lynch and Matt Westmoreland. On October the 13th of last year, officers with the Murfreesboro Police Department responded to a 911 call for shots fired at a residence on Las Casas Pike in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Upon arrival, officers discovered Mr. Jaleel Turner lying unresponsive on the floor of his apartment, suffering from a gunshot wound to the abdomen. Mr. Turner later died from his injuries. Detective William Pullias was assigned as the lead investigator. Miss Shakira Brown has been charged with second-degree murder. A preliminary hearing was held on February the 17th of this year before the General Sessions Courts. Upon hearing testimony, the court found probable cause to bind the matter over to the grand jury. Miss Brown is represented by counsel, Mr. Brent Horst, and the state is represented by Assistant District Attorney Trevor Lynch. On October 27, 2024, officers with the Murfreesboro Police Department responded to an emergency assist where a man identified as Mr. Harold Cruz had sustained injuries to the head. At the conclusion of the investigation, Mr. Clinton Johnson was charged with first-degree murder. On January 24th of last year, Mr. Johnson appeared before the General Sessions Courts of Rutherford County and bound his case over for presentation to a grand jury. In August of last year, the grand jury indicted Mr. Johnson for first-degree murder and aggravated robbery. His next appearance is scheduled for August 20th of this year. Mr. Johnson is represented by Mr. Drew Perkins, while the state is represented by Assistant District Attorney Matt Westmoreland. On September 4th of 2024, officers with the Smyrna Police Department responded to a gas station on North Lowry Street in Smyrna. Once on scene, officers located Mr. Harlan Webb, who had sustained a single gunshot wound to the chest. Mr. Webb was transported to Stonecrest Hospital, but ultimately died from his injury. Investigators located several individuals on scene, including Mr. Rocky Melton and Miss Shazy Rainey. Officers later learned two others, Mr. Billy Mahan and a juvenile suspect, fled the scene. The investigation revealed that Mr. Melton, Miss Rainey, Mr. Mahan, and the juvenile suspect attempted to rob Mr. Webb. When Mr. Webb resisted, he was shot by the juvenile suspect. Police later apprehended Mr. Mahan and the juvenile suspect. All parties have been charged with first-degree murder, attempted especially aggravated robbery, and conspiracy to commit aggravated robbery. Mr. Melton was also charged with providing a handgun to a juvenile. Miss Rainey and Mr. Mahan were next scheduled to appear before a circuit court judge on June 26th of this year, and Mr. Melton is scheduled to appear for July 23rd of this year. Mr. Melton is represented by Mr. Ben Lewis, Miss Rainey by Josh Crane, and Mr. Mahan is represented by Mr. Christian Moore. The state is represented by Assistant District Attorney Trevor Lynch. In January of 2020, Miss Angela Stacy was attacked and sexually assaulted in a room at the Vista Inn, located in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Officers with the Murfreesboro Police Department responded to the hotel and made contact with Miss Stacy and took the report. Miss Stacy was transported to the emergency room for a sexual assault kit. Over 3 years passed without any arrest, until Miss Stacy saw who she believed was her attacker at the journey home. She made contact with Murfreesboro Police Department Sergeant Mark Wood, who took the information and made contact with Detective Sam Day. Detective Day later learned that the TBI was able to obtain a preliminary association with a man named Thomas Skellion. Mr. Skellion was located in a state prison and had prior convictions for previous sexual assaults, including rape. Mr. Skellion denied having any type of sexual relationship with Miss Stacy. However, upon execution of a search warrant for his DNA, the TBI confirmed Mr. Skellion's semen was found in Miss Stacy's rape kit. In May of 2023, Mr. Skellion was indicted for the rape and kidnapping of Miss Stacy. On May 12th of this year, a jury of his peers found Mr. Skellion guilty as charged of rape and kidnapping. Mr. Skellion was sentenced to life without parole as a multiple rapist. The defendant was represented by counsel, Mr. Jack Mitchell, while the state was represented by Assistant District Attorneys Dana Miner and Allison Abbott. In early April of 2023, officers with the Smyrna Police Department responded to a disturbance at a Little Caesars pizza place in Smyrna, Tennessee. An employee had become disruptive and confrontational. Officers soon learned that the female employee was a minor, and she was upset about an inappropriate text message sent to her by her manager, Eduardo Rodriguez. She had also learned that Mr. Rodriguez was a registered sex offender. Several minors worked at the pizza place, and upper management apparently knew of Mr. Rodriguez's status as a sex offender. During the course of investigating a violation of the sex offender registry, officers learned of a potential sexual relationship with one of the employees that was 15 years old. Mr. Rodriguez was 53-year-old at the time. Detective Steve Hanna was assigned as lead investigator. Detective Hanna began an investigation by interviewing witnesses and obtaining one video taken by fellow employees showing the juvenile and Mr. Rodriguez embracing each other and appearing to kiss. Surveillance began on Mr. Rodriguez, and on April 12th of 2023, officers located Mr. Rodriguez in his car with the 15-year-old minor. Evidence collected included cell phones from both occupants and a dash cam belonging to Mr. Rodriguez. Digital extractions from both phones established a sexual relationship between Mr. Rodriguez and the minor. In addition, 11 photographs classified as child sexual abuse material were located in Mr. Rodriguez's phone. Mr. Rodriguez was arrested for multiple counts of violating the sex offender registry, and was later indicted on 2 counts of statutory rape by an authority figure, 10 counts of especially aggravated sexual exploitation of a minor, and driving on a suspended license. Video from the dashcam and recorded calls between the defendant and minor victim further confirmed the sexual nature of their relationship. This matter was scheduled for trial to begin on June 1st of this year. However, on the morning of the trial, the defendant pled guilty to both counts of statutory rape by an authority figure, 1 count of especially aggravated sexual exploitation of a minor, 2 counts of violation of the sex offender registry, and Mr. Rodriguez was sentenced to serve 20 years in the custody of the Tennessee Department of Corrections. The defendant was represented by counsel Mr. Rusty Perkins, while the state was represented by Assistant District Attorney Sharon Reddick. And that will conclude today's look inside the courts.
Broadcasting from the tallest tower in the city with that little red light on top. FM 100.5, FM 101.9, and AM 1450.
The monthly District Attorney Show, heard exclusively on News Radio, WGNS, the first Friday of each month.
If you missed any part of this program, it will be available shortly as a podcast on the WGNS website. As we end our program today, we thank WGNS for providing the airtime. And we thank our producer, Scott Walker. Most of all, we thank you for listening. We leave now by saying, a safe community is the responsibility of each and every one of us. For my 2 co-hosts, Rutherford County District Attorney General Jennings Jones and Rutherford County Assistant District Attorney Trevor Lynch. This is J. Paul Newman, bidding all of you a safe and blessed day.
The District Attorney's Office thanks you for listening to today's program. If you have any information regarding criminal activity in our community, please contact one of our law enforcement agencies. The information presented on today's show is solely for informational benefit and not intended to be legal advice. You should always consult an attorney whenever you need or rely on legal advice. Rutherford County's most trusted name in news. Talk Radio WGNS, Murfreesboro.